Hello everyone, welcome to my channel on the Sewing Corner. Today we are going to see the construction of a simple kurti, and these are the measurements I will be using. First, fold the fabric in lengthwise, then fold it again so that you have 4 layers of fabric. Then we'll mark the shoulder measurement, which is 7 inches, and the neck measurement is 3 inches. And square off the line at the shoulder measurement. Then mark your armhole depth, which is 7 inches in my case, and then mark the shoulder slope, which is half an inch down from the shoulder measurement. Then connect it with the neck width measurement. Then mark the chest or bust measurements, which is 9.75 inches in my case. Then mark the point there. Then mark the shoulder to the waist measurement, which is 14 inches in my case. Square off the point. Then mark 1/4 of your waist measurement, which is 8.5 here. Mark a point on the line. Then mark the shoulder to the hip measurement, which is 23 in my case. Square off the line and then mark 1/4 of your hip measurement, and all these measurements have ease along with them. Well, I have included 0.5 inch of ease, so it is 11 inches here. Then mark the total length of the kurti which you need. Here I am marking it as 40 inches. Then square off the line and mark the same measurement which you marked for your hip. So mark it there, the 11 inches which we marked for the hip. Make a point there. Then we are marking the armhole ear. Find the midpoint on the line from the shoulder to the chest. Then make a curve. That will be the back armhole. For the front, take 1 inch inwards from that line and make a point at the middle point. Then connect it to the chest line and connect all the horizontal points with the ruler. For the hips and the waist, I'm using the hip curve, but you can use the straight ruler as well. Then mark 1 inch seam allowance on all the measurement. Then I'm marking the neck depth here. I'm taking 5 inches for both back and the front neck. So I'm marking and squaring it off with the shoulder width point and mark it off. Here I'm using a simple U neck and I'm using a curved ruler or the French curve to make the curve. Adding half inch seam allowance on the shoulder line. And connect the seam allowance points. Then I'm adding 1 inch of hem and connect it. Then cut it. First we are going to cut all the layers of the fabric with the back measurement. cut the hemline as well. Then cut the neckline. Separate the back from the front piece. And cut the front armhole. Now, with right sides together, match the shoulder points of the front and the back piece and stitch it. Here I'm using 1 centimeter or half an inch of seam allowance. And I've made the stitch and I've finished using a serger, but you can also use a zigzag stitch to finish it. Then I'm going to finish the neckline and the armhole with the black bias tape. Now keep the bias tape and the fabric right sides together and make a stitch. Here also I'm using half an inch or 1 centimeter of seam allowance. Now with the seam allowance on the right side, fold the bias tape over it and make a stitch close to the seam. Then trim off the excess fabric on the bias tape and fold the bias tape towards the inside of the fabric and make a stitch. Now it's finished. Repeat it on the other side as well. For the neckline, we will do the same as the armholes. Leave 1 inch of fabric before you start the stitch and stitch all around the neckline. And when you're about to come to the end of the neckline, just measure the bias tape to the end and match it along with the starting point of the bias tape and make a stitch there and cut the excess bias tape and then continue to finish the neckline. Now finish the neckline. Then fold the bias tape towards the seam allowance and make a stitch close to the seam all around the neckline as you did for the armholes. Now trim the excess bias tape as we did earlier, and then fold the bias tape towards the inside and make a stitch. Don't pull the fabric, just let it go as it goes. Don't stretch it. Now the neckline and the armholes are finished, and it is very neat to look both and inside and out. Now let's make the side seam. Match the back and the front and make a notch at the hip point and stitch till the hip point. From there we'll have slits. As this is a straight fit kurti, we need to have slits to move freely. Make a stitch at 1 inch as it is the seam allowance I left when I marked. Repeat it on the other side as well. Now the side seams are finished, and I finished the raw edges with serger. You can use zigzag stitches as well. Now for the slits, fold 1/2 inch and then fold again on it. Then make a straight stitch. When you reach the hip point, try to fold the seam allowance closer to it and make a stitch. Leave the needle down, lift the presser footer up, turn your fabric, then fold the slit again twice, then make a stitch down. Now the slits are finished. It is very neat inside out, and repeat it on the other slit as well. Coming to the end of the slit on the other side. The remaining is just a hem to finish. Now it's very neat inside out. Now for the hemline, I've left 1 inch as well, so fold 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch over that, then make a straight stitch. The hemline is finished on one side. Trim off the excess threads and repeat the same process on the other side of the hem. Now our kurti is finished, and it is very neat looking. on all the seam lines as well as on the slits and on the hemline. This is very easy to make and it is a very beginner project. Anybody can try it. And this is the final outcome. Hope you all like my video. Please like, share and subscribe if you like it. Thank you.